First of all, let's get some of the commercials out of the way. 412. This is 412 at the top of the hour. Let's get commercials out of the way because this is the last show, unless I got my numbers wrong. This is the last show in April, which means between now and the next show, somebody, me, has got to pony up some money to pay June. She's listening. She's watching you. She knows. I noticed some of yous just now. I got subscribed to the Substack. That's money in the bank. We appreciate that. Not only do you get this show, but then you get the Substack as well. That's nice. But there's Cash App. There's Venmo. There's PayPal. There's Zelle. There's Zoom. If you're in your many ways to chip in to help the show, I don't expect you guys to pay all of it. That's fine. I don't mind paying some of it, but I start to feel like an asshole if I'm paying most of it. So chip in, do your part. You know, you know some of you ignore it because I know you put money in the kitty every single month. I know Tommy Pounds, he's put enough money into the show for the rest of his life to never have to put another nickel in, but the rest of you chip in. Anyways, I'm Mr. Robinson. What have you been doing like in Spain? Well, let's go back a little bit. I'm going to bounce back and forth in time. This is not going to, like I do anything else, this is not going to be a linear progression. Okay, so the first things first. I'm minding my own business this week. And if you follow me on the Instagram thing, you know where this is going. I'm minding my own business this week, doing what I do, which my day is structured around physical fitness. Right. This was a detox week. This was the week I decided I'm done. I'm done with anti-inflammatories, aspirin, vitamins, minerals, Miracle 2000, peptides. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done putting stuff in my body. Right. I start to think like, and what precipitated, I was telling my kid the story. She said, well, tell me a bedtime story, Dad. And so I told her the story about Steve Austin and Jamie Summers. Those of you who were not born in the 70s don't know that I'm talking about the bionic man and the bionic woman. And I was kind of making fun of, like, look, you can't give the guy one bionic leg because when he's running 60 miles an hour with that one bionic leg, what's happened to the other leg? And I'm laughing. And then as I'm telling the story on a parallel path, I'm thinking, well, I'm kind of like the bionic man, you know, with all the money I spend to keep me solvent in jujitsu and weightlifting, you know, I could probably buy another house. And then I start to think, you know what? I need to know what's going on. I need to know, I need to, I'm suspicious, it's like, what's that Tom Waits thing where it's like, the bullets that you say that you use only for you when you're having a bad day. And pretty soon you use the bullet so much, you're always having bad days. So I said nothing. So last week, nothing passed my lips. And Jesus Christ, it was like the picture of Dorian Gray. All of a sudden, I knew the full balance of what it meant to be 63 fucking years old. I mean, walking down the sidewalk, there is no way that you would see me walking down the sidewalk in Spain or any other country on the face of this earth and go, oh my God, there's a 43-year-old. So, I start to do the things that don't involve putting things in the body. I start stretching, hot tub and stuff. And that seems to be making a little bit of a difference. But since I got the dental thing finally taken care of, I was like, I got to make an appointment. I got to get the sciatica taken care of. I got to get this cortisone injection or whatever the fuck. I can't. This is ridiculous. Like, if shit drops on the floor, and I can't vacuum it up, it stays there, So this is the week I'm taking nothing. So I go hobbling in to train jiu-jitsu, and the place is like, there's like 200 guys there, 200 people, men and women. And this is not a normal Monday. Oh, I remember they had written something on the board about some kind of seminar. And, dude who owns the place, it's a good moneymaker, leases it out to people who want to do it. So he had one of these ecological jiu-jitsu guys come and, 200 people downstairs. I said, I'm not paying for that. So can we train? Yeah, you go upstairs. So I go upstairs where the locker rooms are, and there's a smaller mat there you could train on. And so we could train there. And as I'm getting dressed, like, I get there early just because I can't, putting the rash guard on is murder, right? I get my arms over my head, and some guy's walking out. And I'm talking to some teammates, and this guy walks by, stops, looks at me, goes, Eugene? Now, over the course of the years, I've trained myself to never answer this question directly. All right, this is how you get. They served Greg Ginn papers at a show because somebody kept Greg. He goes, "Yeah, boom, you're here. You are hereby served." You never know. You get a subpoena. My first question, like the guy who I bought my first car from, is who wants to know? Who wants to know? But I'm slipping. I'm slipping, and I say, "Yeah." And the guy goes, "Oh man, I'm a big fan." And the guys I'm training with are like, ugh. And I go, "Where are you from?" He goes, "I'm from Zagreb, Croatia." And I go, "Okay." He goes, "In fact, I booked your show there at the club for the November tour for Buñuel." I was like, "Oh shit." I go, "Well, nice to meet you." He goes, "Hey, okay, I got to get to class downstairs, but I'll see you in November." Shake hands, we walk, and I go back to looking at the rest of the team, and I go, "Hey, I told you I was a musician." Well, loosely in a band. I suck all over the world, and so they were like, "Fuck, I guess this guy really is in a band." So that's the beginning of the week. On a parallel path, I get an email from some guy in Spain. He goes, "Man, I hear this weird rumor that you live here now." And I go, "Yeah, he lives about 2 hours from here." He goes, "Oh, I'm a huge fan. I was just about to order some of your vinyl. Can I get it from you?" I go, "Yeah, sure. I'll put it in the mail tomorrow, man." I hate the Spanish postal system, but he goes, "No, no, we got this other thing. You could just drop box it and then it's called in post." And I go, "Wow, it's it's kind of been doing this for a bit. The recognition is kind of cool." And then if you remember, some of you who may still be listening, I went right before Ozzy Fest got canceled. I was in New York doing the convicted felon Carlos Watson signed off on it if he got the maximum amount of work out of me. So not only was I there a little bit early for Ozzy Fest, but I wanted to get there a week early to see some family. But I had to, in that week, do six. If you remember the series I used to do, six Eugeniuses. Some of them are still online. Eugene interviews the king of Mott Street, Vinny Stigma. That one's online, and I did a whole video package, Crime All the Time, about mafia murders all over Brooklyn. Went out to the Gemini Club, which where Roy DeMeo and the Gemini twins murdered over 200 people. I did all these packages. So I went to the promenade to do one of the Eugeniuses, and in the course of, I don't know, maybe an hour, we saw two or three people were like, "Fucking knuckle up, knuckle up, knuckle up." And first, the guy who was filming the video was just a guy. He didn't really think too much of me. We never got along. Is what I'm saying. Ozzy, video director. He was by the third one. He's like, "The fuck, man." I was like, "Yeah, yeah. This is what convicted felon Carlos Watson wants to stop me from doing. For whatever reason, he doesn't realize it fits." So bit by bit. I mean, I guess I should not be surprised. This is New York City, 12 million people, be recognized by people who actually listened to the show 3 or 4 times, and they were as shocked as I was. And they didn't expect to see me actually walking down the street. I took photos with all of them. I haven't posted them because whatever. But for me, I keep them, so I have it. It's kind of cool. And of course, they could turn crazy and turn around and try to kill me, and that's another reason for keeping them. So that the week got off to a good start, and I was feeling so magnanimous and overwhelmed actually, in actual fact, because the piece reconsidering edge lords, the Substack piece from last week, has, like I mentioned last week, I think on If the Shoes Fit, it's done a tremendous amount of business, and it's like so much business that like 15,000 readers. It's like 300 new subscribers. A bunch of people, paid subscribers, put up for this one piece. And of course, the arguing in the comments got so heavy and so thorough that at first I was keeping up with it, and then I just couldn't keep up with it. I said, "Yeah, you know what? I let this horse loose." A buddy of mine once talked about out in Patterson, New Jersey, at some mafia wedding pavilion, and they hadn't paid the guys. And you expect the mafia to get tough. What this guy had done, he also specialized in exotic animals. So what this guy did, you guys not paying you, okay? You think you're gonna be slick? You think the mafia would, get a hitman, burn something down, shoot somebody up, threaten somebody. This guy got a fucking orangutan and had it fed it for a bit and then let it loose in the wedding party. So this just fucking ripped the joint, ripped the joint apart. So 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 I feel I'm just at this point, you let something like reconsidering edgelords out to the marketplace. You just got to let the orangutan rip the place apart. That's what's going to happen, and that's what happened. And so I kept thinking, God damn it, man. It feels good to have that many more people on board, but it doesn't feel good to have it so much get away from you. But at this point, it belongs to the world. It belongs to the world. And I said, well, as long as I have the world's attention, is there any other karma that needs to be leveled, any other thing that needs to be redressed? And I was talking to somebody and said, yeah, why don't you talk about that fuck Greg Ginn? And I go, oh. Now, he's done some objectionable stuff a lot. Chuck Dukowski, who I really like, has told me he called him fucking evil. All right, called him evil. That's the word he used, evil. But guy's always been nice to me, and he's done some stuff where I looked at it and I'm like, man, that's like firing Ron Reyes on stage and Mike Vallely and trying to kick his. I mean, these guys. It's embarrassing when people who can't fight act like they can fight, right? And try to make manifest that kind of macho energy. It's a drag and it's pathetic, and I don't like it. But it doesn't have. I mean, I think it's safe to say. I think it's. I think I can healthily say that much like LSD, Greg Ginn has had a proportional share of making me the man I am today. I mean, people listen to music. You might like music. You don't understand. You don't understand. You don't understand how those records, how damaged was listened to, damaged American Waste, Nervous Breakdown, or Wasted, all of the early Black Flag. That these were like missives, missiles and missives from some place that was fantasy. I was buying those records at Rocks in Your Head down in Soho in New York before I'd even thought about going to the West Coast. So anyway, Greg Ginn, these guys were, ma- majorly influential. One of the first interviews I did was with Black Flag. Well, I mean, keep in mind, I've been writing professionally since I was 14 years old, but I did. I hadn't done any interviews until I think that Black Flag was probably the first interview I had done. Other pieces were, they were snippets of interviews here and there, interviewing a record store owner about a record store roundup or some shit like that. But out of all the people I worked with on magazines in high school, I'm the only one that really went to work for magazines later, as far as I know. So, these are different cats. Kiedis I never liked, but I just decided to let go of the hate. Greg Ginn was majorly influential. I said Chuck Dukowski was my guy, but all those guys, they were a mini cult. They had their own language, they had their own way of doing things, and you were either temperamentally in or you were out. If you were out, it felt to be like a drag. It was kind of culty and weird, and it was like and to a certain degree, it was like a He-Man woman haters club where you can hear Kira Russler talk about how miserable it was to be the bass player for Black Flag when she was there. But look, between that and Ian MacKaye with his no fucking thing, it wasn't like I was getting all that busy when I was 19 anyway. Of course, if Kasha were here, she was like, "You're not getting busy; it's everybody else's orgy." And in that case, she might be right. But compared to what later happened, I wasn't really getting that busy during that time. So I figured, I don't know. And then somebody sent me a clip like, "Look at this clown," and that's what pushed me over the hill with Kiedis too. They look at this clown, and it was a clip from them playing some festival. I mean, within the last 2 weeks, with Greg Ginn playing some festival, and with his new band, when nobody in the band was alive when they even put out those first records, and Greg Ginn's on stage playing "Black Coffee" was the hit the clip that somebody sent me, and I'm watching him, and he's killing it. I mean, 71. I don't know if he's taking Advil or what he's doing to get on stage, but he's killing it. And the woman who's singing now is not bad at all. I mean, it's a Black Flag review. if you understand what I mean. All right. Like Black Flag ceased existing as far as I'm concerned in 1985. Everything since then has been a Black Flag review. But the fact that you got the man himself in the band means a lot to me. It's not so much gang of one. Gang of four was always gang of four in my mind. So Andy Gill going out by himself, calling it gang of four, that was kind of jive. But Black Flag, after my war, well, before my war, after Damage, when he fired Dukowski, played bass himself, Dale Nixon, it was clearly, the codified vision of a single individual, that had other people participating. I mean, which is how Oxbow started. And then, of course, Oxbow, by the time we got to, I think by the time we got to, I mean, in Evil Heat, we were a real band. Maybe even Let Me Be a Woman. The only thing I remember having extensive notes and construction patterns for was Fuckfest and King of the Jews. After that, we were a real band. So I thought I'd write that. So I'm writing and I'm writing and I'm tinkering and I get photo. And I was looking for a photo I had of me and Greg in Long Beach, but of course my filing system sucks, and it's just me and Cora these days. Um, so um, so I couldn't really find the photo of the two of us, and but I'm some tinkering, and then I'm vaguely aware of this hubbub about, for the first time, the presidential maniac is going to attend the press, the media ball, the one that kicked it all into gear, where they made fun of him years ago when Obama was president, and supposedly this gave him the casus belli to seek the highest office in the land because he was so upset with how he had been mocked. And of course he's not gone every single year because why go into the enemy's den. And then there was burbling rumors in the early in the week that he was going to go. I mean, this was even. I mean, what? It's like my experience with face punching. I've told you I was going to punch you in the face if you don't leave me alone. And now that you've decided to not leave me alone, I've told you I'm going to give you 3 seconds to punch you in the face. And then I'm counting 1 and 2. And then there's a whole argument about whether you punch on 3, you count 3 and then punch, but who cares? Because at that point, I punch you in the face. And everybody who's done that stood opposite me with me when that's happened, has had the same look on their face, total surprise. Everybody was saying Trump is the presidential maniac is going to show up at the press dinner and he's going to do something wild. He's going to explode. He's going to do something wild. He's going to go exactly, the correspondence thing. He's going to do this and he's going to do that. Right? So I'm paying about as much attention to that as I am to the oofsie last night, of which there was one fight that was worth the damn, and Team Old Guy won it. So Aljamain Sterling won it in a convincing fashion. He said, "Now she contend for the belt." I go, "Against who? For what? Where?" I felt like Vinny Barbarino. You for the belt? What? The featherweight belt? Where? Who? What? The UFC? Why? There is no. I always knew they would fail, but never quite so spectacularly. Back when I was predicting the downfall 3 years ago of the UFC, I never, ever, ever imagined, I never thought it was even possible that it would fall as far as it's fucking fallen. I mean, if you've had friends who still have to report on this, it's like, man, I understand. Cain Velasquez against Brock Lesnar. I understand I ran out of a reading I did in Chicago to a sports bar across the street, dodging fucking 4 or 5 lanes of traffic, not get killed. The second, usually I should be there selling merch. I'm like, so long, I gotta go, and ran to the bar. I screamed so loud when Cain Velasquez beat Brock Lesnar. I started passing out, slid off the aluminum high chair that I was sitting on at the bar, and found myself on the floor. That type of enthusiasm, you almost is worth its weight in gold. And I tell you, I- I've not felt that in a long time. Yeah, he's not getting that belt back, but at this point, who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? There's no. I mean, I don't even care enough to try to watch fucking clips. And they've made it, the whole thing with Paramount. It's easier than ever to watch. But why would you? Why would you? So anyway, April 26th, last show of April. This is version 412 of the Eugene S. Robinson Show Stomper. This week, what do we got coming up? We got Bad Boss Brief. We did the last show was the AI show. And as usual, we want, if you have show themes based on your job shit, let us know. WTF at Bad Boss Brief is the email that we use. What else do we have? We have Ask Huge. If you have questions for Ask Huge, you know how to get them to us. You can DM me through Instagram or through Facebook or however else social media you got for me. Jackals. Jackals. They sound like children screaming. Squirrels. I don't really see a hell of a lot of squirrels here, but I know they're coyotes. And so we got Ask Huge. It will be Ask Huge number 6 this week. Bad Boss Brief. We canceled If the Shoes Fit this week because John had his mom is sick and had to pick up his brother from the airport, and it was just too much. We'll do that next Saturday. And I have no idea what I'm writing about as usual for next Substack. Maybe I'll take the week off. Who knows? So anyway, that is the show. I think outside I put my mouthpiece to the door. The kid is probably sleeping now, so I won't scream to end the show. But you know what I have to say. Look what you made me do! Don't die, Blondie. Don't die.
Thanks for joining us this week for yet another episode of the Show Stomper podcast, featuring your host, Eugene S. Robinson. Be sure to follow Eugene's weekly newsletter, which is a soaring hit at eugenesrobinson.substack.com. If you're still on Twitter, he's at Eugene S. Robinson. While you're at it, follow him on Insta at Mr. Sleep 3. That's the number 3. For more episodes of the show that seemingly never ends, go to showstomper.substack.com and become a subscriber today. Eventually, it will house all the Knuckle Up archives we can locate. We already have all the jiu-jitsu breakdowns for free. Check out Eugene on the Bad Boss Brief podcast every other Wednesday morning, as well as the If the Shoes Fit podcast. Pick up his memoir, A Walk Across Dirty Water and Straight into Murderer's Row today, and be sure to leave him a much appreciated honest Amazon review.
Hey, are you still there? I'm here too. This is me, June M. Williams, Eugene's producer.
The Show Stomper has been produced by Original Designs, owned and operated by me, June M. Williams. I provide Eugene with videography, original show graphics, motion graphics, show logos, podcast syndication, social media, and more. I can be reached at originals@gmail.com, spelled ORIJUNELS @gmail.com.